One night in the middle of the night, I just took a shower. Lying in bed with a cell phone. Because the phone reflects its own face. I took my phone and looked at the acne on my left face. It's annoying to complain. You've got acne. Then I look at my face with my phone. But an acne. Then the boyfriend sent a message. The phone lights up. I will send a message to my boyfriend, chatting about what happened today. Chatting. The screen of the phone suddenly goes black. And then it lit up. I mean, it's been around that long. Maybe there's something wrong. I didn't think much of it. Just keep talking to your boyfriend. After a while, it was all black again. Then the phone is restored to its original condition. This situation makes me feel a little irritable. I told my boyfriend about the condition of my phone, while typing. The phone is all black. Then it will be restored to its original appearance in an instant. I feel something is wrong. And it seems a bit incongruous. But I can't tell you what's weird. When I think about what's wrong with this phone. The phone hacked again in an instant. Immediately back to normal. I'm starting to get a little scared, because I seem to have found something strange. Just as I was about to press the power switch, when closing the phone screen. The phone is turned off directly by itself this time. The screen is all black. This time I lost my phone. Then he ran out the door in fright. Because just now, the moment the phone screen was turned off, I see my face through the reflection of the screen. But there's a man's head next to my face. He's looking sideways at my pimples. Finish these stories. Hey. The sleepless nights will continue for a while. This is what my mother told me. We went back to my grandmother's house that day. Grandma's house is in a rural place in Okinawa. The most famous one over there is Shinyuan Beach. Been there before. Buildings over there in Taiwan. And some of the more remote seaside villages in Taiwan. It's like a small village. So it's sparsely populated. The beach is really beautiful during the day. Many beautiful reefs and beautiful sandy beaches, but by the sea at night, nothing but the sound of the desolate waves. That time, our family went from Tokyo to Grandma's house for a 5-day vacation. I was walking on the beach with my mother. Mother is very happy. Said he grew up on this land as a child. The resources of the sea support their family. But my mother said that this beach has too many memories. Also on this beach, I've seen some incredible things. One of the things he still remembers. Mother said that when he was young, because the environment at that time was very poor. There was no gas. It's all by burning firewood. So it has to be at low tide in the early morning. Pick up lumber on the beach and go home. Just in case you have wood to burn when you cook in the morning. Sometimes it's close to daylight. Sometimes in the early morning. I have to go when it's still dark. Because my mother is the eldest in the family. So the onus falls on him. So he's always alone. Early in the morning or in the middle of the night, go to the beach to pick up drifting tombs. It was a very sunny day. There are no clouds in the sky. The moonlight is very bright. Extremely high visibility. Mother came to the beach alone. Usually he goes along the beach. Walk to the middle of the beach. If there is a good drifting tomb along the way, he'll start by putting it a little bit closer. Place on shore. The middle of the beach near the shore. There is a small shrine. However, with the passage of time, the shrine has since been moved to town. To protect the people in town. Mother said that the shrine, it was originally to protect this sea area. Mother, he usually walks to the beach in front of the shrine. And then I walked back. Pick up the drifting tomb you just picked all the way. Carry it back that day. He works the same way. Picking out a rafting curtain on the beach. There was no one on the beach. And he was walking. walked to the beach in front of the shrine and prepared to go back to the city. When he turned around, he found that the beach was far away. There was a guy walking along the road and picking up the drifting curtain. Looks like someone else in the village. But that person's movements are a little weird. He saw the man walking in a distance. Pick up driftwood along the road and stuff it on you. And here's the weird part. The person feels like he's getting taller and taller. The hands and feet are getting longer. He wondered who it was in the village. It was behind him. Picked up the driftwood he picked all the way. He shouted at the man. "Who is it? Don't pick up the firewood I picked." The shadow seemed to hear his mother's cry. Mother looks at him. "Stuff the freshly cut driftwood on your hands." It stopped. "Stand still far away." He yelled at the man again. "Is that Mr. Missile?" Mr. Missile is the uncle who lives alone next door. Usually he is alone. Pick it up on this beach in the middle of the night. After the drifting curtain he finished speaking. The man was waving to my mother from afar. And he slowly walked over. He meant to say it should be Mr. Rewind. But he thought something was wrong. Mr. Rewind is not that tall. And that guy has weird long hands and feet. Although he thought it was a little strange, but wave at him anyway. And the person gets progressively closer. When he was about 50 meters away from his mother. "Mother, look at that thing." He said it was horrible. "That thing is not human." He saw a body. It's a weird thing made of all kinds of wooden branches. The guy was covered in firewood. Hands, feet and body are made of wood and branches to walk. The sound of cats wood crashing. The only place it's not made of wood is the head. That's a human head. He saw the head in the distance. I don't know if it's male or female. Short hair, wet. Eyes are covered. And it seems to be with a smile. Come all the way down the road, and he kept waving at her. Obviously that's not human. Mother was terrified. He said he was scared. Reflexively running towards the god. He's on the run. He heard that thing. It seems to be rushing over to chase him quickly. He dared not look back. All I heard was the loud crash of the wood. It's getting closer. It's getting closer. After the mother rushed through the torii, hide in the bushes next to it. His body was cut by the grass. But he didn't dare to act rashly. Hiding in the grass and watching the guy from a distance. He saw the guy come to torii. Stand still. Then a few seconds later. Suddenly the whole body falls apart. A pile of wood is scattered on the beach. Then, he saw a round object fall to the ground. Mother said it should be the head. And then, that kowtow has a life force of its own. Roll into the sea. Rolled into the sea and disappeared. Mother said he was too scared. So he hid in the grass and dared not come out. Until the dawn. He just came out of the grass. He goes to Toriguchi. I saw a bunch of drifting tombs scattered all over the place. Because those drifting tombs are great materials. So he picks up the lumber. I planned to pick it up and burn it at home, but my mother said, there were some wet ones in those drifting tombs at that time. Those wet woods. It gives off a strange rancid smell. Pick it up carefully. Above the wood. There are also scum-like dregs and seaweed left. After. He wouldn't dare go to the beach in the middle of the night to pick up lumber. They all go near morning. And my mother said, well, you know what? To this day he still doesn't know the guy. What is it? If you're okay, expand the purpose. Then someone might be taken away. This is an incident that took place in my hometown in the countryside. Maybe not too scary. But I think it's incredible. My hometown is in a mountain village. There's a guy near my grandma's house who likes to show off. A vain family. Especially the old woman in that family. The old lady Corrado is a super showing off person. Always love to talk to the neighbors, boasting about how accomplished their sons and grandchildren are. And because of that, the people nearby don't like the old lady Corrado very much. One day, the old woman came to chat with my grandmother. Say my family is a famous family. So I want to build the family tomb to be more bizarre. The goal is to be more spacious. The tombstone should also be beautiful. I think this is probably a common phenomenon. But we have a saying in the countryside. The greater the purpose, more vacancies. Family members will also be taken away. My grandma also told the old woman in the warehouse about it. Persuade her not to expand the cemetery at will. Apparently the vain warehouse lady didn't care about it. Instead, I think grandma is just jealous of their family. He asked for advice about the cemetery. I went to consult the abbot's wife again. Of course, the abbot's wife is also against it. But because temples are also for business. So Sumike and Corrado said, if you insist on expanding the cemetery area, we don't mind if you buy the land to do it. And finally, the family doubled the size of their cemetery. And make the tombstone even grander. Became the largest family tomb in that temple. Of course, the color of the tombstone is monotonous. But he looks like. It's not that simple and crude tombstone. It was gorgeous. Sculpting feels like a bit overdone. As the size of their cemetery grew, some passages are forced shrunk to less than half of the original. When people who sometimes have family buried there are very dissatisfied, and the vain warehouse old woman. Of course, it's something to show off to everyone. When he came to show off to my grandmother, Granny's kind gentle admonition to him to be careful. Don't be taken away. Maybe someone else told him the same. So the vain warehouse old lady. I'm impatient with people's attitudes. So we don't talk much about intent. 1 month later, there had been an accident. The vain warehouse old woman. 3 grandchildren in elementary school. One was an older boy. And a pair of twin brothers. The twin brother is called Yeren. Yeren doesn't know why. Fell off a cliff and died. It seems to be without a fence. In the clearing by the cliff, it fell while playing with other children. Because it's an old neighbor. So I went to the funeral. At that time, the elders were busy with the funeral. My sister and I took care of the children of our neighbors. There was one on the day of the accident. The girl who played with the elegant said, "Why Ren jumped down by himself?" He said that at that time Yeren said, "The stones under the cliff are beautiful. So he's going to give those stones to grandma." And then he jumped. And I was thinking, the cliff is about 30 meters high. The stone below is not clear at all. But Yeren said it was for grandma. And she jumped. A little strange. But that's what kids say. Not very reliable. After that happened, it started circulating nearby because the purpose was too great. So the rumor that was taken away. 1 month later, the warehouse's grandfather died in a car accident. It seems that when he was drunk and walked on his way to buy wine, running a red light and getting caught by a car, started around this time. Everyone in the neighborhood said, because they made it bigger. That's why family members are taken away. The vain warehouse old woman. Because it's mentally overwhelming. So it collapsed. Then he became completely incommunicado. 3 months after Grandpa Corrado passed away, Corrado old woman was hospitalized for colorectal cancer. When Grandma went to visit the doctor, he said to my grandmother, "They're going to take me away. Because I broadened my purpose. Why didn't the abbot stop me at that time?" I feel like the old woman Corrado at that time. I tried my best to make a sound to my grandma. Then the old woman Corrado passed away 2 weeks later. After that, there is even a family nearby. Cursed rumor. It's been about 5 years since then. No one in their family died suddenly anymore. Grandma and the abbot's wife in the temple said, "It should be that the purpose of spaciousness is full, right? Maybe it's just chance." But I saw an ancient legend happening around. For me, it's really scary. This is something that I experienced firsthand last fall. Although it is autumn, but the heat still lingers. On that dreary night, make me sleep hard. So I try to find a way to help me sleep. Finally, I'm raised to listen to some sound compositions before bed, like the sound of waves or rain. And my favorite is the kind of water dripping on the floor. That patter sound. Maybe you might feel weird, but these sounds help me sleep. So listen to this kind of work. It became a required course before I went to bed every day. A lot of times I fall asleep halfway through it. I also listened that day. I slowly fell asleep. I don't know what time it is. I woke up facing the wall. Thinking to yourself? At a strange time. Wake up. Really troublesome. I decided to listen to a different sound piece, then go back to sleep. Just behind my hand, when you are ready to reach for your phone, strange noises came from behind me. It sounds like a wet woman. Keep your head down. Then the water dripped from his hair onto the floor. Dripping sound. My gut feeling tells me I shouldn't have turned around, so I closed my eyes tightly. Inexplicably fell asleep again. The next morning, I checked where the sound came from yesterday. The floor is not wet. It's normal. Nothing strange happened that day. But a few days later, I still met. That day, I fell asleep and woke up inexplicably in the middle of the night. I don't know why. When I woke up, I felt a little weird. I opened my eyes, looking around the room. The inexplicable silence in the middle of the night, plus a dark room. There is a little fear in my heart. Then I suddenly saw the door of the room. There is a dark figure resembling a person, and I thought, what is that? This is the moment. My fear reached its limit. The whole body froze. I had no energy. I tried to move my body, but no strength to move. The only thing that can move is my eyes. The instant I blinked, the shadow just now became clear. Is a woman with long hair. I thought I was dazzled, so I blinked again. After opening your eyes, he was at my bedside in an instant. I blinked again. His face came close at once. I thought to myself, oops. And I closed my eyes really tightly. And I say to myself, sorry, don't scare me. I was wrong. My phone suddenly rang. A sound work. It's the sound of water dripping on the floor. In that instant, my body suddenly gained strength. I did it abruptly. And the woman with long black hair just now disappeared. One summer, at a university seminar, I was with a group of people from outside the county. Decided to get together and go camping. Location: it's a remote island off the main island of Okinawa. After we arrived at the port by small ferry, a light bus is waiting to pick us up. Between the port and the village where the camp is located, there are no official roads, so there weren't many cars moving. When we arrived at the recording location and unloaded our luggage, we told the people in the hut, recording has been booked. The uncle smiled and said, he has a tent that he can rent to us. There is also a set of barbecue equipment and provide some fuel, wood and other tools. As for toilets and showers, behind this hut, there's a tap. You can get water there. Then the uncle pointed to the woods and said, there used to be a clearing over there. Just go straight. You can pitch any tent you like. I looked at where he was pointing. There is an unpaved dirt road. It's dark inside. It feels like a forest area. A few of us marched towards the recording area. The width of the dirt road, hardly enough to get a person through. We follow the path, keep walking for a long time. I find it a little strange. And I wondered, is there really a recording area up ahead? If you continue to rub like this, We won't have time to play. Therefore, and each of us started flushing down the path with a dash. After we passed through the tree tunnel in the woodland, rushed into the sun, and everybody got up and cheered. It's incredibly wide. The white sandy beach extends far away, and that in the sun, sparkling blue sea. This is a view you can't even see on the main island of Okinawa, when the boys are building tents. And life. Girls change into swimsuits, jump into the sea to play, and that was the end of the meal. I drank and sang. It was very loud. The sun has gradually set. Only the light of a lantern and a campfire illuminated everyone's face on the beach. Suddenly a senior stopped me. "Hey, Dogawa, I need to use the restroom." But I was scared. "Can you go with me?" During the day, I'll answer from the cabin and the recording area. Water cooking feels nothing. But now it's pitch black. There are no street lights on that road. Must be scary for girls. So I picked up the lantern. He walked with me towards the dark forest path. The path is narrow. Can't make the two of us walk side by side, so I went ahead. He followed. He's probably very scared, so he clutched to my shirt. Instead, he picked up speed. Push me from behind. "Hey senior. You are in danger." I can't wait for the senior's response. The senior suddenly walked away from me. Ran over quickly. I wondered what was wrong with him. Can't help it. I hurried after him, worried that he would fall down the dark road. But because he runs really fast, so I couldn't catch him in the road. He was later found crouching in front of the hut. I looked at him from a distance. I thought to myself that my senior might not have caught up. This is the moment I sensed something was wrong. Under the only street lamp, I asked the senior who was squatting under the light and said, "Senior, what's your trouble? Are you all right?" Senior's shoulders keep shaking, like crying. Senior said, "Can't you see?" "What do you see?" The senior continued to ask me, thread backwards. "Didn't you see that?" He turns around. This is the first time I have seen my senior look like this. His face was clear, sweating me. Asked the senior sister, "What's that?" Sister returned to me. "Don't say it here yet. I have to get things done first." And then I saw him stagger to his feet. Go to the toilet at the back of the hut. When he's done. When we were about to leave, he insisted that he definitely doesn't want to go back the same way. So we circled around for a while. Find another way to the beach. When we finally got back to the beach. Start at the white sand beach. When walking in the direction of the tent, the senior began to talk about what had just happened. He said there were trees everywhere on the road just now, right? The path is lined with trees, but seeing trees out of the corner of my eye seems a little weird. And it's a bunch of trees, it's all weird. I was sweating and swallowing. The senior continued, "At first I thought it was a tree, and you couldn't see it because it was dark. Until the eyes are fully adapted. Through the distant light, I started to see the trees on either side. It's not a tree at all. It's a bunch of old people in white kimonos. They stood on either side and looked at us." The senior cried after she finished speaking. I took him safely back to my friend's side. We tucked him in and comforted him. After putting him to bed, I had another drink with my friends. When I came to my senses, and it was already dawn. Lying by the extinguished campfire, wrapped in a quilt. The sun has already risen high above. We hastily packed our tents and gear. I breathed a sigh of relief, because the senior has regained her vitality. When I went to return the borrowed equipment, the uncle came out of the hut. He said hello to me. "Did you have fun camping?" "Yes, this place is amazing. So much fun. Just the uncle asked and said Why? Because I'm a little curious. So I decided to ask my uncle. I asked, is there in the woods over there? Uncle said you won't go in, will you? I should have told you guys first, but people don't like to hear that. In the woods on either side of this path is the grave area of this village. The camp was built later, because you can't pass the road through the grave area. That's why we opened this path. Avoid those places. After listening to what the uncle said, I was a little scared. I can't hide my unease. But he still smiled and said, we are here at this time. It's what you call a fish basket knot. It's the time when the ancestors come back. So this recording location, it should have been resting. But I got the time wrong. It was only when he said that I realized there are no other tourists except us. Uncle, look at me. Hearty smile. Suddenly I felt a sight. Look back. The senior sister used this crying expression, standing there looking at us.